Hi guys, welcome to another Inkscape video in which we are going to learn how we can create rectangles. So one of the first thing you need to know in any graphic program is how to create basic shapes like rectangles, squares and much more. So that's why in this video what we are going to see is we are going to see how we can create rectangles and squares. So for that what you can do is here you can go into the toolbox and then there is a toolbox have special tool for creating rectangles and squares. So one option is you can just click here onto the rectangle tool, or the second option is you can just press R on your keyboard and then you are gonna access the rectangle tool as you can see here. And if you want to create any rectangle, so you can just start and drag, and in that way you can create any size of rectangle. But if you want to create the center, like from wherever you want to start your rectangular square, if you want to have that point into the center of the rectangle, then what you can do is you can just hold the shift key on your keyboard and then you can just start your rectangle. So in that way, the point from where I started, it's gonna come into the middle. And if I'm going to drag by holding a control key, what I can do is I can constrain the height and width in a many ways. So for example, if I'm going to hold the control key and then I'm going to drag it into the diagonal way. So in this way, what I can do is I can get a perfect square, as you can see. But if I want, I can go back, Control Z. But if I would just hold the control key and then move onto the sides, then what you can do is you can just get different kind of ratio. For example, here you can see I can get a golden ratio. You can saw into the status bar under the canvas, you can see. And if you want to expand more, then you are gonna get 2:1. And then if you want to expand more, then you are gonna get 3:1. So these things you can see here into the status bar. Okay, and then you would have two different controls. The first one is this rectangle. If you want to change the size, you can hold these control. You can just you can expand them, you can shrink them, you can change the size or whatever. So these are two rectangles just to do this kind of stuff. And if you want to have same kind of ratio, then you can just increase, decrease or move them in diagonally, and then it's gonna be into the same ratio. Okay, so the next thing is you can see there is another control. There is a circle here. So this circle is, if I'm going to hold it, if I'm going to drag it to the down, so you can see I can cut the corners of my square. But you can notice like there is another circle here. So basically what it's going to do is this one is just cutting the verticals, and if I'm going to move this, it's going to cut the horizontal corners, as you can see. Or if you want to cut both together, so what you can do is you can just hold the control and you can just pick one, and then in that way you can even make a perfect circle, as you can see, because right now you are not cutting horizontally or vertically. Hi guys, sorry for distraction, but if you think my videos are helpful and if you are a serious Inkscape learner, then I'm gonna recommend you can go into the description of this video where you would find my course link where I have over 7 hours of Inkscape videos. In every video I explain each and every individual tool with an example as well. Moreover, if you want to collaborate, if you have some kind of projects or assignment and you want to connect, feel free to contact me with my email, which is also given into the description. Thank you. Okay, so if you want to create a rectangle or square with the precise dimension, so what you can do is you can even go into the tool control bar, and here you can provide the x values, radius for the x, radius for the y. You can provide the values here. And there is another option, like if you already cut the corners or whatever, and if you want to create a sharp edges again, there is a tool for that. So make corners sharp. So if I'm gonna select my object and click to this tool, and it's gonna bring the edges back. Okay, so there is another thing which you need to keep in mind when you are working on the tools control. So in the tools control, later on, whatever the information you are getting, it can be changed by tool to tool. So for example, right now, if I'm going to say like this is my square and let's give the values like 200 pixels, and I'm going to select it back and 200 pixels. So I'm going to distribute 200 pixels for width and 200 pixels for height. So, but right now I am into the rectangle tool, right? And if I'm going to go into the selector tool, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this object and I'm going to rotate it a bit. Let's say I'm going to rotate this square. And then if I would go back into the pixels, as you can see here, I have a width 285 pixels. For the height, I have 285 pixels. So, but the problem is, like, why I have different pixels, because right now I'm using a different tool. I am into the selector tool. So if I'm going to press R just to go back into my rectangle tool, and then you can see again, I have the same pixel size which I have set for myself. As you can see, 200 pixels for each. Okay, but in terms of formatting, we have a control, like how we want to make a new object. Do we want to have with the default values, or even we can select from the last style, whatever we have chosen. And if you want to make for any object, like as you can see, if you want to go into the preferences, what you can do is you can just double click to any tool. Let's say I'm gonna double click to the selector. I'm gonna go into the preferences box and then into the shapes, and then let's say rectangles, and into the rectangle, as you can see, I have an option style for the new object. So what I can do is I can just go and I can choose my own style, this tool's own style, whatever the style, or even if I want to take a style from a selection, I can select and I can pick that style as well. Another option is I can just use the option last use style. Okay, then I'm gonna go with the last use style. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is just gonna change the color for this one, and then what I would do is I would change the opacity as well. So for this I'm gonna go into the fill and stroke. So fill and stroke is already open, otherwise I can go here and I can open fill and stroke. If I would change the color to this purple color, and I want to change the opacity, let's say I want to do it 50% opacity. Okay, so it's done. And now I just want to let you know, like let me delete this and make some space, because I had chosen, like, I want to use the style which I have used for the previous object, from the last object. So I'm gonna go and made a new rectangle. So look at that, it's gonna made the same color and with the same opacity. If you want to recheck, you can just select the object and you can see this is my color and this is my opacity, 50% opacity. So in short, whatever kind of formatting I have for my last object, so it's gonna be copied for the new object, because I have chosen the style from the last object. So overall, from this video, what we have learned is we have created and modified rectangles using the rectangle tool, the handles on the rectangle, and tool controls. And we saw how we can control the formatting of the shapes that we can draw with the rectangle tool. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe to support this channel, where you are gonna find a lot of videos and tutorials. And if you are a serious learner, I am gonna highly recommend you can go into the description of this video and you can find my course link, where I have over 5 hours of videos in which I have explained each and every tool in a very detailed video with an example as well. And if you have some projects or assignments or tasks, feel free to write me on my email, which is also given in the description. Thank you.